Circuit de Lebanon. I've never driven it before, and there I was trying to learn the track, and I just couldn't stop crashing. I was hitting the wall all the time, reset the car, get back to the pit lane, exit, turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, wall. I even tried to go a super slow lap just to get an active reset point right before the finish line and try to start like having good laps, but I couldn't. I was just crashing the car non-stop. And if you think about it, in reality, if you're crashing the car all the time, you're not really learning anything about the track. You're not practicing. You're just resetting the car, and maybe you learn turn 1, turn 2, but not quite enough to have a good race, to have good laps, or even to measure yourself. This happened at Circuit de Lebanon, but also happened in many other tracks that were completely new to me. I was constantly in this loop of getting out of the pit lane, going a few turns, crashing the car, and spending a good portion of my practice session just trying to stay on track. And I learned there is a simple way out of it. It's a way that has nothing to do with technique. It's way more about the mentality that you bring to the practice session. So back to Lebanon, I was there getting more and more frustrated because I just couldn't post one fast lap. Even the laps that I was able to complete, they would have off tracks, they would have spins, and a lot of the times 1, 2, 3 laps in, I was starting to get some momentum, I would crash and have to reset the car. And that day, one idea came to my mind, and that was, let me think differently on how I am going to approach this situation. So I closed my eyes and I told myself, let's think that BMW paid my flight tickets, my hotels, my meal, because they wanted to see me here today driving their car. And if they like what they see, they are going to hire me for the next race. That tricked my brain into raising the stakes. Now, the one thing I didn't want to do was to crash the car. And the other thing is, if this was real life, how would I approach learning this track? We all know that watching videos about the track help, but it's not the same thing when you are having to make the decisions when you were inside the car. So I went back to the pit lane. As I was driving to the exit, I was thinking, if I crash this car, they're never going to want to hear from me again. That's priority number 1. And as I get comfortable, I'll push more because they also want to see if I can post some fast laps today. I ran around turn 1, turn 2, slowly. I wasn't dragging myself, but I wasn't pushing. I would see the braking markers and I would almost brake as if I had a bucket of water inside the car that I didn't want to spill. So it wasn't like a hard brake. It was very early, soft on the brakes. Let's find the grip here. Let's see where I have to turn in. Let me learn more about this specific corner, and then I would go to the next one and the next one, and voila, I completed the first lap without any instance, without any issues. It wasn't the fastest time ever, but I didn't crash. Then I went to the second lap and I was using the references from the previous lap, and I was thinking this was too early on the brakes. Let me try a little bit later. And honestly, in some of the corners, I was already braking at the right spot, or even a bit late. So I tried to remember what happened in the previous lap and adapt to the new lap. That was probably 60% out of the pit lane. The second lap, I was giving 70% of me, and then in the next lap, I would push another 10%. I was to 80%. The following lap, 90%. And that's when I also realized one other thing. Almost everybody I know and almost everybody I see uses the delta bar to show what's going on in the lap. And I see the delta bar as a very good data point that gives you immediate feedback on what you're doing, but it also increases the pressure on what you're doing. And after I think was turn 2 or turn 3, I realized I was losing time. I just decided to remove the delta bar. If I was here in real life, I would be driving this track, looking at the apex of the next corner, looking where I want to take my car, and not looking at the time. So I completed that lap. Next lap, I was feeling more comfortable. I pushed myself to 95%, and then I was pushing myself closer and closer to getting to my 100%, and that released a lot of the pressure that I had in my shoulders, and I started posting my personal best lap after lap. Sometimes I would have 1 or 2 bad laps without realizing, and without necessarily knowing why, but then, because I just saw that I was slower in the previous lap, I would focus more on the entirety of the next lap. And then I used this mentality for a long time, and I still use it. But one funny thing happened a few months ago during a live stream. I was having a practice session, and I was talking to the chat, and there were two viewers who were chatting with me in the stream and also were racing in different tracks, different cars. And as we were talking, I told them, hey, I'm gonna go to this practice session, it's a new track, so I'm just gonna use what I call my BMW driver mentality. And I explained to them, and they, oh, it's interesting, I wanna try it as well, let me try it right now. And then they tried it, and within that stream, both of them came back saying, hey, this actually helped me a lot. I just posted my personal best here. And that was the moment that it truly clicked to me. This is not necessarily one thing that just worked for me or just worked in one instance. If you think about it, when you put yourself in the position of not being able to crash the car because that's the only car you have, you raise the stakes, you raise your level of concentration, but you also raise your level of awareness. Instead of pushing the first hot lap right off the pit lane in a track that you don't know, that you just watched one video of 5 minutes, you go more cautiously. That's what you do in real life. If right now you fly to a track you've never seen before and you get a car, it could be the car that you drive every single day, it could be a car that you've never driven before. If you do that, I can guarantee you're not gonna go full throttle until you're very sure you can stay on track. And since that day, I've been using this mentality. And my crashes during these practice sessions, they're almost gone. It's very rare for me to crash a car while I'm learning the track. And if you join the streams and you see me practicing, you're gonna see that a lot of times I spin, I go off track, but hitting the wall, it's not a thing that happens to me anymore. The only instance I'll hit the wall is if I'm truly practicing hot laps and hot laps only, because then I'm intentionally pushing, and sometimes I know this might be 101%. And if it's 101%, I'm gonna lose the car and I'll have to try to recover it and I may crash. But when I'm in the process of learning my braking markers, when I'm in the process of learning the track or even the car, I take it very easy, because more clean laps equals to more practice time, to more actual practice time. Those things, they add up. And I've reinforced this mentality enough, and it has worked for me so well, that now if I take a new car in a new track, it's gonna take me something between 5 and 10 laps to truly learn the track and the car and the braking markers, and I can do that in one session. A half an hour session, I can leave that session knowing exactly what I have to do around the track and how to be fast. I might still not be competitive in terms of lap time, but I'll be very close to that, and I'll have all the information I need. And that's it. My road to 4K this year, my journey from sim to real life, they all have the same fundamentals. It's all about thinking the right way, and everything else will follow. And I'd love to hear from you if you have a special mental trick that you use either in practice sessions or in races that has really helped you become a better driver.